Hello, I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth, and I, along with our town board, are proud to present At Home with North Hempstead, a series of special programs for children, seniors, as well as entertainment for residents of all ages. We hope you enjoy this special presentation and check back often for new content.
Hi, thank you for joining me for another art making session. My name is Marie and I will be showing you how to create this beautiful identity portrait, which you can use as a Father's Day present. For the supplies, you will mainly need, a paper, pencil, markers, or color pencils. So to start out, I'm using a marker just so it's going to be clear to see, but you're going to be kind of pretend like you're drawing a U, but that you're drawing half of a U. You're not going to draw the full U. The idea with this identity portrait is that half of the face will look realistic and the other half will be made up of symbols and images symbolizing, that the person that you're doing this for. This could also be a self-portrait, so the images and symbols could have something to do with you. For this one, I'm having a little bit of fun with this. I'm drawing like my dad as an anime character in a way, but you can make it very realistic. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of like starting by finding where the proportions of the face can be. You can use lines to help you out. So for the eyes, I create like a hill and then an upside down hill and connected them. The nose will be halfway from, where the line of the eyes was, and for the line where the chin is, and then the middle of the mouth will be halfway from where the nose is and where the chin is. So you can, definitely sketch this out. Don't do this with a marker like I'm doing. Use a pencil. But I'm just working on adding the facial features only on one side. You can add the facial features on the right or the left side. I decided to do the left side. Also, if you have a picture of the person you're doing this for, that will also probably really help. For the ears, I'm drawing, pretend like you're drawing half of a heart. That's usually the shape of the ears in a way. And then I'm just going to be adding the eyes. Once again, the idea is to make it look like the person. So you can make it look exactly like the person, or you can have some fun with it, make it look a bit abstract, make the person look cartoon. Like I'm making my person look anime, so that could be an option also. And then after that, before you get to this, you really want to take some time to sketch it out. So I decided that for my dad, I'm going to be using a big symbol, like of a tree, like a tree root, something that like holding everything together and stuff like that, strong. I decided to use that as the main symbol for the other part of it. That is an option to use like one unifying symbol, or you could just do a lot of random images. So I'm trying to make like the other half look like a tree, but also still have it aligned with the realistic side, just so it overall looks like a person in a way. I'm drawing a big heart at the center as a way to symbolize that, like he has a big heart and stuff. But once again, this is going to be your portrait. So you would probably take some time and write down, like, let's say you're making this as a Father's Day gift, you would write down what are like certain like characteristic traits, personality traits about your dad that like you really love, things that that you basically just love about your dad that makes him like great and things like that. You can write those out, and then you have to figure out how can you communicate that through images and like one word, right? So we're mostly using symbols and typography. We don't really want to write a big sentence. So right now I've got the tree, I've got books, so kind of like symbolizing like like to read, but also it could mean something different to you, so people might interpret this differently, but it's really just it's your project. So whatever symbols you think will work, you should do. I am adding apple. You could also just do random stuff if you want, but I think it works best if you really take the time to think about the person that you're doing this for and how can you visually communicate things that you love about them that really makes them unique, that makes them who they are, that makes you love them, you know? And if you're doing this for yourself, it would be the same thing, but now you're thinking about things that you love about yourself, things that make you who you are, that looking from the outside, no one might really know. Okay. I'm also giving my dad anime like spiky hair. But when you're doing this, you would obviously, if you're looking at a picture, try to follow like the actual hair of the person you're doing this for. I'm just making this a bit more animated and having some fun with it. And the funny thing is, I actually started drawing in middle school by drawing anime characters because I love to read. So I would get a lot of anime books, and I was looking at, like the, what's it called? Like, like the drawings and stuff. And I started by reproducing them. So I was trying to recreate them. And then as I saw that I was getting better, I ended up like creating my own characters. I even like worked on writing like an anime book and stuff. I had planned to move to Japan and become a manga artist and all these things. And to this day, I actually really, really love anime. But it's this weird relationship where I love it so much that I actually don't watch it, because if I start watching it, I'm I'm just gonna go into this like hole of binge watching anime and not focus on anything else. So I have this weird thing where sometimes when I love something a lot, that I actually have to stay away from it just so I can like discipline myself in a way. And as you can see, I did decide to make my dad look like really young. It's a, it's a creative like choice, but if you want, you can definitely make your dad look like actually how they look like right now. It was just for the project to simplify it more. I kept the shapes very simple and to just keep him looking very young, because if I actually try to make him look like what he is now, it would take me a couple hours just to, really get like how his face looks. So when you're doing yours, don't try to rush it or get it done in 30 minutes. You can make it look like their actual face. I'm just keeping mine looking young. It's a creative choice, really. So the good thing with art is you have a lot of options. And I think the next thing I'm gonna be drawing is probably like a soccer ball. I think for me, just to like symbolize remembering, like, I'm not sure if this memory is correct or something, but like playing soccer with my dad. Like, I love sports and I used to be like really into soccer. My favorite is badminton for sure, but I'm just thinking of memories and things like that that I can add into it. So right now I think it's actually coming pretty cool, and the cool thing is that like with the leaves of the tree, it's kind of like it complements a bit, the spiky hair. There's a nice contrast there. So I am coloring it as I go. If you're working, I would probably recommend that you sketch it first. I'm just coloring really the soccer ball just so I can make sure that the shapes look all right. But I definitely recommend to do all the drawing first before you start coloring, just in case you want to make any changes. It's much easier, And I am writing some words. If you have like a stencil, you could use that to do some cool effects. Or like instead of writing the word strong, you could draw like, I don't know, like a muscle or something. It's really up to you how you want to visually communicate the idea that you're trying to communicate. So I'm mostly just using typography and symbols slash images for this project. I am also kind of just making this up in my head and kind of just going along with it. If I do make any mistake, I'm just trying to like turn it into something. So that could be another challenge if you're up for it, is, like not to use a reference image and kind of like make it up. If you really want a challenge, you could use a Sharpie. Then it's kind of like really hard to erase anything. But that's if you're up for the challenge. So I think I have a good amount of images and symbols. I'll probably add some more later. But I wanted to start coloring it just so I could start to see, like how the everything will be coming along. I am using, these are like permanent markers. If this, honestly, you could even paint this if you want. This could work with any medium. It's really just the idea that I'm providing. So if you have like color pencils, soft pastels, or paint, watercolor, any of those will work just fine with the project. So I'm going to use markers just because I feel like it will really help it pop out. And also I can cover a nice amount of area like really fast. And also using the marker is really nice. It's a bit like therapeutic and stuff, like listening to some music as you just color. That's one of my favorite things. And as you can see, I couldn't find another like lighter brown to do the other side of the face. So I'm probably gonna do like a light peach color, only because if I do the same brown that I'm using for the, what's it called, the roots of the tree, it's gonna look a little like there won't be much contrast. So I mean, my as you can see, my skin, I'm pretty like dark skin, and so is my dad. But just for the project and for aesthetics, so it looks good with the brown of the tree, I'm gonna be using a much lighter color for his face because I couldn't find a light brown color for some reason. I'm pretty sure when I'm done with this project, I'm gonna find the light brown color that I was looking for. But oh well, just wanted to point that out so that way you could know in advance. Changing the playlist to my music. I always usually like listen to some type of music when I'm doing this. I'm one of those people that like always need some kind of background noise when I'm doing something. I don't know if that's like healthy or not, but like if I'm cooking or even when I'm doing work on the computer, I need to be like watching something, but it's something that it's just a background noise. Like I'm like paying half attention, but not really. I find it hard to do actual work, especially creative work, when there's like nothing in the background going, when it's just pure silence. I don't know, I just can't do it. Please do feel free to also, use whichever colors you would like. You don't have to use the specific colors that I'm using. You have the creative freedom to use what you would like. I don't know why I decided to make my book blue, but I'm just going along with it. So right now this is like, this is the lightest brown I could find, but it's like a somewhere between brown and peach. And I think since I'm using this color, I'm probably just gonna like make my dad like continue with the anime idea and give him like a really I don't know, like a bold hair color rather than the actual like dark brown color hair that he has. And I'm just moving along pretty fast, trying to cover as much space as I can. Honestly, hoping that this marker does not run out before I get done with the face. You also want to think about like shadows when you're working on the realistic side of the face, where the shadows are and where there are some highlights, and just try to, like show a little bit of that within it to give it like some form of three-dimensionality. Just a little bit. You don't have to go crazy with it. And I'm just gonna work on the shadows under the neck and somewhere around the ears. I could add more shadows, but I want to keep it a bit simpler, like simple. Now I have decided that for the hair, I'm gonna be using a yellow. I think this reminds me of, I think his hair was white, but this show I think was called Bleach that I used to like stay up to watch it every night on TV and everything. And I used to be like really, really into it. I think that character had yellow hair. So that's where that's coming from. And I'll probably give it some darker highlights and stuff. But I think it's kind of fun, just to make it a little bit crazy. But on the other, like the other part with the symbols and images, you want to, definitely take that serious and really focus on what you're going to have on there. So it is actually looking pretty good, I would say. Yeah. The form looks good. The hair looks good. And the symbol on the right, like the tree, goes really nicely with the face on the left. It's pretty cool. And if you do decide to make this project as like a Father's Day project or some kind of a birthday gift or something, I think it's definitely nice to write, like a little card with it. Maybe you could explain what the symbols mean or let them guess. um, but definitely, when you send it, I think it will be a very like it's a nice thing to receive because it's like, like the other person seeing like what's beneath the surface in a way and like really knowing who you are. So, I mean, you could also do this for a sibling. My sister's birthday is coming up, so maybe I'll get her this, but she will definitely want a present on top of this also. Definitely make sure that you keep your workspace nice and clean, and that when you're done with your markers, just always make sure that they're closed because one, that helps preserve the markers so they can last longer, but also you don't want, like, if it doesn't have a cap on and then the marker just rolls around and then next thing you know, it makes a line on your beautiful drawing, which has happened to me many times. So I have learned my lesson from that. And I think I'm gonna do like this lighter green just to give like a sense of idea of depth, some kind of shading. If you really want to do shading, then you would really add a lot of shadows and highlights. But this is like a very simple, basic shading using a lighter version and a darker version of the same color. This blue looks really nice. Like it really complements the yellow of the hair and really makes it pop out because the yellow and the blue, they're like a cool type, like they're both cool, so they really look good together. So that's the other thing when you're like deciding on the colors, you want to be mindful of the colors that you're using and how they're gonna work and complement each other. And I haven't forgotten about the eye. I'm gonna go back to the eye. I'm not gonna leave it just plain white like that. Also, if you want, you can also add like more images or words to the background of it and make it like just fill up the whole space. I decided to just keep it a bit more simple and not add anything to the background, but that's also another option you could do. Now, after I added the brown, I was like, I probably could have made the eyes like a light or a dark blue, but oh well. And we just have to do the mouth. I have to remember to do the mouth. And then after that, we are, like pretty almost done. And I'm hoping that, the way you're doing your project, that you're happy with how it's coming out and that you're using what I'm showing you as a foundation, not necessarily what it has to look like, and really make it personalized for the person that you're doing it for. If you are doing this for you, really take the time to reflect on yourself, reflect on what makes you who you are, what makes you special, what's unique about you, things that people might not know about you just, by when they see you. Really try to keep it, positive and empowering so that way you can, like, if you're going through a sad day or something, you can have it somewhere on your wall as a reminder of who you are and, that you're awesome, basically. I'm just adding a little bit of details and starting to add some of those final touches to really bring the piece together and to really make it like stand out and adding a lot of contrast. Definitely want to make you have a good amount of contrast so that way the shapes, the symbols, and the words don't get lost within the whole image overall. And next we're gonna be doing the little highlights. So I'm adding like a dark orange highlight, really just moving the marker back and forth really fast in a vertical position. And based on what you're using, you might be able to add highlight or not. But now it's really looking like a really cool, like edgy anime character. But so when you look at it, you might not understand that it has to do with my dad. But that's the main thing is that it's for you to interpret how you want and the other person. And I decided to do the anime character, make him look much younger. And then finally, I think we're missing about yeah, one thing, which is the mouth. So also take this time to like really look at your piece, see anywhere that you can improve, that you can really add some more details to it to really just finish it all together. I think right now I'm mostly just missing the color for the mouth. I'm gonna use the same color that I use for the skin, because I think if I use, like I couldn't find a darker, some kind of light brown for it, so I'm just keeping it the same color. But for you, you would probably use a darker color based on what you're doing. But it actually looks darker the way it is. And just take the time to add some details and yeah. But I do hope that you were able to follow along with me pretty easily, and that this project is something that you would like to do, even if it's a self-identity portrait or for someone else. But this is the final finished product. Thank you again for joining me in the video. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you in the next art making video. Thank you.